Привет! Hi! Let's go on with the Russian language study. It was really great to pronounce your first Russian phrases in the previous video, along with the words you tried to read in Cyrillic. I do hope you'll do the same wonderful job with this video. Меня зовут Анна. My name is Anna. И я преподаю языки 20 лет. I've been teaching languages for 20 years by now, and I'm going to enjoy my time revealing some new words and phrases to you in this second video of my online course Russian in Practice. How do you understand Привет? Hi, as an informal way of greeting. What's the English for Добрый день? Good afternoon or hello. It's a formal way, one of many, if you need to greet a person you don't know well. If someone says пока to you, how do you understand the person? It's bye in Russian. And then there's до свидания. What does it mean? Goodbye. Very good. How do you say goodbye in Russian? До свидания. До свидания. If you want other people to understand you perfectly well, repeat the Russian words every time I pronounce them. It's a wonderful way of training both your articulation apparatus and your listening capability. So try to say it. До свидания. What's the Russian for hi? Привет. Привет. How do you say good afternoon? Добрый день. Добрый день. And what's the Russian for bye? Пока. Пока. Good job. Now I'll make you a question. What are the phrases you need to say most often when you speak to people in other languages? Just think about the situations that happen frequently. They're really numerous, but the most popular are those in which you need to introduce yourself. It's providing the other person with your name and, more rarely, asking the name of the person. So let's learn to introduce ourselves in the Russian language, as well as two other words that are part of a very important layer of any language, the politeness formulae. Just listen to the way I introduce myself. Меня зовут Анна. Меня зовут Анна. For the visual support, you may see the pronunciation on the screen. You don't have to scrutinize the Cyrillic, since we haven't studied all of it yet. I'll just keep putting it here for those who wish to go back to the first videos after having learned the whole of the Russian alphabet. So if you need to introduce yourself, you say Меня зовут. Зовут. And then there's your name. How do you say, my name is? Меня зовут. And your name. Literally, it's not my name is, but something like they call me, because it's the other people that call me by this name. You find меня, that means me, and зовут, that is call, in the meaning of they call. Yes, it's somewhat like I am called plus your name, even though there is no passive voice in the phrase. So, how do you introduce yourself? Меня зовут. And your name. Great. Now, use this phrase to answer my question, what's your name? Как вас зовут? And you reply with Меня зовут, followed by your first name, or maybe in job situations by your first name and your surname. Did you hear my question? Как вас зовут? Repeat it. Как вас зовут? Как вас зовут? The grammatical meaning is how do they call you, where как stands for how, вас is the you word declined in the accusative case, and зовут is the verb call, implying they call. How do you ask a person about his or her name? Как вас зовут? Do you remember the way you said good afternoon or hello? Добрый день. Добрый день. What's the Russian for goodbye? До свидания. How do you say my name is? Меня зовут plus your name. How do you ask me about the way they call me? Как вас зовут? Let's make our first conversation in Russian. Our conversation is going to be formal. That's the usual way of starting a dialogue with an adult person. Just begin with greeting me. Добрый день. Добрый день. Как вас зовут? Меня зовут. And your name. Ask me about my name. Как вас зовут? Меня зовут Anna. Imagine we have spoken about various things and you need to take leave. До свидания. До свидания. It was splendid. Go on this way. Do you wish to know the Russian for thank you and please? Here they are. Let's say them. Спасибо. Спасибо. The other one is пожалуйста. 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 As you see, the word пожалуйста has two meanings. Please and a typical answer to thanks, you're welcome. How do you say you're welcome in Russian? Пожалуйста. What's the Russian for thanks? Спасибо. How do you say my name is? Меня зовут. How do you ask, what's your name? Как вас зовут? Let's make a guided conversation. You will see the suggested phrases on the screen and try to say them in the correct Russian, paying attention to your pronunciation. The first time, I'm going to take the initiative with the questions. Добрый день. Добрый день. Как вас зовут? Меня зовут. And your name. Спасибо. Пожалуйста. До свидания. You reply with До свидания. Let's do it again. This time the initiative is yours. Добрый день. Добрый день. Меня зовут. Как вас зовут? Меня зовут Анна. Спасибо. Пожалуйста. Very good. You really speak good Russian now, even though it regards a very limited number of situations. But as the saying goes, well begun is half done. Would you like to continue learning to read in Cyrillic? Let us see several other letters that will add to your list of the Russian letters you're able to pronounce. The first video of my course Russian in Practice helped you to decipher the letters A, K, M, O, T, as well as Y, R, V, so that now you're able to read the Russian words tak, крем, трава, комета. In this last one, the letter O is in its weak position. It hasn't got a stress mark over it. That is why you read it A. Комета. What you see pretty often in all the Cyrillic alphabets is the letter S. You can only read it as S, like St. Petersburg. So it's only S, and it may never be anything else. How do you read this word? Kрест. Kрест. What about these two? Please pay much attention to the letter O. If it doesn't have the stress mark over it, you can't pronounce it O. Good. So the first one is asa, asa. The second one is Moskva, Moskva. Then there's this strange symbol that looks like the letter Y in English, but it doesn't go under the line, at least not in block letters. We Russians pronounce it U, and you always read it as the U sound. What's the pronunciation of this word? The last letter is S, so the word is kurs, kurs. What about these two wonderful words? Tur, tur, sumka, sumka. Now we have this Russian letter, which is very easy to pronounce, even if it's never H, but N. The letter N is always read as N. Here are 3 words for you to have practice with. You've been doing great job. Just go on like this. It's a splendid thing reading in a foreign alphabet. Nauka, nauka. The word sleep, like the deep sleep or the fast sleep, which is also a dream that you see while sleeping, has only got one vowel letter, and it's O, so the stress is just here. It can't be anywhere else, and the letter O is strong. Son, son. Let's go on. Nota, nota. Very good. Your study of the Russian alphabet is proceeding in an amazing way. You already managed to read lots of letters. They make just a third of the Russian alphabet though. What about the others? Let's see other 3 letters. This one is our D. So the sound is D. One of the best things you can do to remember the Russian letters is to associate them with your own concepts or objects. What does it look like? The D letter looks like a house, or maybe like a paper ship. So think about something in it that begins with the D letter in English, or in your language if it's not English. The Russian letter that looks like a double-deck ship full of dainty daffodils will be pronounced D. It's only at the end of a word that this letter, as all the voiced consonants, will lose its voice, and we will say T. T. How do you read this word? Dom. Dom. The O is the only vowel in it. It is strong, and we say O. Dom. What about these three? Moda. Moda. Kot. The letter there is at the end of the word, so it loses its voice, and it becomes T. Kot. Dva. Dva. Very good. Here is another letter, a rather funny one. You just write it like the wrong way of the Latin N. This is our E, so that this word is pronounced mir. Mir. Try to read these three Russian words. Три. Три. The five-member musical group is quintet. Quintet. And then there's один. Один. The letter O is weak, and we pronounce it A. Один. Let's finish the reading part of this video with a very simple letter. It's our P, and the sound it conveys is P. You don't need to aspirate it as in English. It's a very flat sound. P. How do you pronounce this word? Parom. Parom. What about this one? Пока. It's one of the words we already know. Пока. Let's try to decipher this word. Par. Par. Here is a game. You don't need to memorize these words. They're a great support for you to learn the Russian alphabet. Just listen to the way I read them, repeat the word, and then say what it means in English. Let's go. Подарок. Подарок. A gift. Let's go to the next one. Покупка. Покупка. A purchase. Корова. Корова. A cow. Trap. Trap. A ship's ladder. Примета. Примета. A sign. Soup. Soup. Yeah, it's a soup. Stepan. Stepan. It's the Russian equivalent of Stephen. Corona. Corona. A crown. Divan. Divan. A sofa. Wonderful. Good. So if you hear someone say to you, "Меня зовут Степан," what does this person mean? My name is Stepan. How do you understand "Как вас зовут"? What's your name? What's the English for "спасибо"? Thank you or thanks. How do you understand "пожалуйста"? It's an answer to thank you, you're welcome, or in other situations it's please. How do you say please in Russian? Пожалуйста. Do you remember thank you? Спасибо. What's the Russian for my name is? Меня зовут. What about the question, what's your name? Как вас зовут? Как вас зовут? Great, you're not a beginner anymore. You already know lots of words. What you really need now is lots of practice, both listening and speaking, along with your vocabulary and grammar enriching. And that's what we're going to do in the next videos. Пожалуйста, please, subscribe and like this video. See you soon. Пока!